this when we did the update with the camera. It just kind of takes, there you go.
Yep.
See how different it looks? See?
Yep, you're live.
2.
Brian, we have a couple quick items to go over first, then we'll turn it over to you. Is that all right?
No problem. Just have to put more
Okay,
money in.
Todd.
Are we on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I can, all right.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of executive session at 6:30 p.m. And I'd like to make a motion to authorize Attorney Carl Landolina to work with consultants on the mill project with no greater than 2 hours for each of 2 consultants.
I'll second that motion.
All additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Alrighty. Next on the agenda is you, Todd. Staffing and authorization to sell the senior bus.
Yeah, the first one is the senior bus, the 2014 senior bus. We took delivery of the new 2019 senior bus in January, put it into service. The old bus, quote-unquote, 2014 bus that it is replacing has been taken out of service at the DPW yard. I'm just looking for authority to list this for sale. I'd like to do it on online auctions and see what we get. We'll hold a reserve on it of approximately $12,000.
For the
I
reserve.
expect, yeah, we'll get more than that, looking at what they have listed on there. Some of them are bringing pretty good money, so we'll see what the market will bear. But as long as we get above the $12,000, that'll cover our costs for the new bus.
Yes, it will.
Are there any, like the 10% listing fees and so forth associated with that? Like
Yes, there are
the
fees,
live
but
auction?
there's buyer's fees that come out of it. But,
Oh, okay.
as long as we net above or around the 12,000.
Is
Yep.
that pretty good shape, that bus? Or?
Yeah, it's only 5 years old, it's in very good condition. We'll get it
Okay.
ready, clean it up, and do all the marketing for it.
Okay.
So,
All right, I move to authorize Todd Rowland to try to sell the 2014 senior bus and with his recommendation to do it online
With a minimum.
with a minimum of
Sure.
$12,000.
Yep.
Second the motion.
Additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the next one?
Second is the seasonal GIS intern. This is part of our stormwater permit that we're required under the the new state statute for the MS4 permit. We need to begin mapping all of our stormwater system. Now, Jeff started doing it off of the subdivision maps in land use, but it's cumbersome. So we'd like to hire a seasonal intern for the summer at $12 an hour and have them do that. It's a lot of data processing, essentially, scanning maps and then looking on Google Earth and literally zooming into a catch basin and putting a dot on that for a Latin long and then putting that into our GIS system so we can connect where our storm system is. We don't really know, frankly, and we need to. It's part of our MS4 permit. We posted the ad for 2 months and we had 3 candidates apply. One of them withdrew her application because she got a full-time job. She was a college student. We interviewed one from the high school, one candidate from the high school, and another candidate who we are recommending, Sean McCusker, who is in school now for GIS. He's also an Air Force reservist and was the best of the 2 candidates that we interviewed. And was quite impressive. I think he'll do a very good job of it. There is some field work with this. 70% of it is data processing. About 30% will be going out into the field and actually taking pictures of our falls and getting a Latin long for that so we can enter it into the GIS system.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the recommendation by Todd for the GIS intern.
Second?
Additional discussion?
I do. I think this is a very good move based upon all the rain we've had lately. and I become some of the back roads and it's like a lake.
Yeah.
And so to be able to identify this and get the needs that we need, I'm fully in favor of it.
Absolutely.
Make sure you clean out those catch basins.
We're doing that now. We're almost done.
Until the
Okay.
next storm.
Did them all.
All in favor?
Where
Aye.
I have a
I move to add
had a couple
one
questions.
item,
So.
and it affects Todd, so if you
Out
don't
of the
mind, we'll
stormwater
talk
line.
about it right now.
Out of my stormwater.
Todd,
Todd.
would you, I had a request from people on Sokol Road.
Mhm.
Would you go down and look at, you know where those apartments are on the right-hand side, going down to brick ones, the brick and white? There are trees along the street that are dead, and they don't know if they're on town property or not. Would you find out if they are?
So the apartment's heading towards Avery on the right.
They're
Yes.
heading toward 83 on the right.
Yes, but if they,
They're
anyone that
dead.
has a question, they can fill out the tree form and I evaluate all of them. But I will.
Okay, just because what's happening is I think they're afraid they're going to fall,
Okay.
and it has been really messy following the gypsy moth attacks.
Yeah, we've had a lot of dieback from that.
So it's 68 is the house before it, so it's like 70 and beyond on that side.
Okay, I'll take a
Thank
look
you
at that.
very much.
Okay, thank you, Todd. One other minor item, Brian, if you could have your patience. I received the following announcement from the American Legion directed to both all of us, Tim Patricus, Kathy Devlin, and myself, which I'll read. Dear Bud, Kathy, and Tim, on behalf of the Buck Dubai Post 101, I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation for the memorable Summer's Proclamation ceremony you planned and executed on Thursday, April 18th, in honor of the American Legion Centennial and Post 101's achievements over the past 100 years. The time and effort that you and your staff contributed to this celebratory event was truly touching. As veterans, we greatly appreciate the impact that each of you made in making our nation's heroes feel wanted and needed. We realize that each of you is very busy every day with your selectmen's positions as well as other full-time jobs and family. It made our post members feel so honored that you made time to speak with our community about the American Legion and Post 101, sharing our history and relevancy here in Summers at the proclamation ceremony. Because the American Legion is reinventing itself to keep abreast of changes in society, your leadership in supporting us is more important now than ever before. We are looking forward to hosting you for a visit at one of our Post 101 monthly meetings. We feel there's no better way to gain understanding of our work and the success of Post 101 than to experience it firsthand. As we continue to work together, learning and doing, I foresee a direct and remarkable impact upon our community. Thank you for your time and public service. We are extremely grateful to our town for its support and for your civic-minded leadership as Summers Selectmen. We know you are entrusted with the important decisions of our town of Summers. We hope Post 101 can continue to be a resourceful partner for you. For 100 years, the American Legion has been dedicated to one single purpose: empowering our veterans to lead high-quality lives with respect and dignity. You have contributed to our mission, and I look forward to continuing our relationship and to future meetings with you and your dedicated staff. In the meantime, I can be of any assistance. Please do not hesitate to call me. With sincere appreciation, David P. McCafferty, Post 101 Commander. Present this to you, Kathy,
Thank you.
and to you.
Very nice.
But
I'll send them a thank you note.
one other announcement specifically to Kim LaFleur. Dear Kim, the Summers Proclamation ceremony on Thursday, April 18th, in honor of the American Legion Centennial and Post 101's achievements over the past 100 years was a fabulous event because of you. Being an effective operations director takes talent, cooperation, motivation, organizational skills, and time. You certainly tapped into your toolbox. Your planning and energy made the event an historical success. Our Post 101 family, American Legion leadership, and the community attendees thoroughly enjoyed the setting, the decorations, delicious appetizers, and the great atmosphere. We received glowing feedbacks from many guests. We couldn't be more touched by this heartfelt gesture. Kim, we thank you for your hard work over the many weeks to pull off such a meaningful and historic event for the American Legion and Buck Dubai Post 101. You really took care of every detail, from organizing the guest speakers and the agenda to switching the ceremony site due to the weather conditions, organizing and ensuring the new venue optimized the event, planning and shopping for the food and decorations, ensuring the audio-visual equipment was set up and functioning properly, optimally advertising the event, and putting us into planning at every juncture was all standing. Did I miss anything? As you certainly didn't. You did a fantastic job and you just melted our hearts. As veterans, we greatly appreciate the impact that you made in making our nation's hero feel wanted and needed. As we continue to work together, learning and doing, I foresee it drafting a remarkable impact upon our community. Thank you so much, Kim. Your priceless efforts shall forever be remembered. With sincere appreciation, David McCafferty, Post 101 Commander.
Very nice.
And I
Well,
second
you deserve
Kim's,
every
so
bit of
yes,
it,
Kim,
Kim. You did a
great.
fabulous
Huge,
job.
that was great. Well done, well done.
And very well written.
Yes.
Great job.
Thank you. Thanks for your patience, Brian.
Oh, not a problem.
We have Brian Seplar, Superintendent of Schools.
I'm here tonight, and I'm sorry I didn't make enough copies. I made 3 for the selectmen. Really kind of as a follow-up to the recent incident that has happened at Summers High School. It has been impactful on the entire school district, and I think that it's also had an impact in the community as well. And one of the things that we're doing multiple things at the school system, in not treating this as an event but as a process. We have numerous programs in place with the students, with the staff, with the curriculum that will take us years to really reap the benefits of that. But we're committed to the process. We think it's worthy, and we think that we need to do something. As part of this process, we were talking with other community members that had gone through a similar incident. One of the things that they said was absolutely important was that not only is this a school event that needs to be addressed, but possibly even expanding it to the community through some sorts of communications, some conversations. And one of the things that I have in this packet is something that's from the United States Justice Department, Community Resource Services. It's free resources, both human and physical, and literature-based resources on how to really go about convening a community conversation. It can be in general, it can be topic specific. That's really up to the community to make decisions on how they want to format this. But one of the things it says is that this is that it cannot just be a Board of Education driven initiative, that it really needs to establish a coalition of governmental agencies, of faith-based agencies, of nonprofit service organizations within the town to come together and really facilitate these conversations. I've put a synopsis here. This does not have to be the roadmap. It's certainly more of a guide. And what I've also, the back tab there is the Community Relations Services Annual Report, which kind of talks a little bit about their services and what they've done. Now, some of the cases in here are very extreme and obviously would not be, appropriate for Summers. Shootings, racial riots and things like that, and how they come in and help the community heal and move forward and do some introspection. I'm put together some action plans. And as part of our healing process within the school system, we think that this would be something that the town of Summers may want to look in taking on to facilitate these community conversations, because this is something that needs to be done on a community basis and not just a Board of Education basis. I won't go through the whole thing. I'll let you take a look at it, and certainly I've been in contact with representatives at CREC who facilitate these types of things, and they have offered their assistance that as we go forward in the planning, and if we go forward in the planning and the facilitation of this, that they would be more than happy to come out, help us with the planning, and even facilitate some of the community discussions.
Have you reached out to some of the faith-based churches?
I have not reached out to anyone.
Okay.
Right now. This is, 100% of my attention has been at the school system. And basically what it says is that the process that it wants to go to is that we have to identify, a sponsor agency. Who's going to be the champion behind this to get the ball rolling, to really reach out to all of the organizations to establish the planning group, the coalition, as we would call that. And then obviously there's a whole planning, once, we establish, who's going to be the cheerleader of this, certainly sounds like you did a great job with the,
So, Brian, is this something that you would envision taking place after the start of the new school year?
Yes, I think the time is too short
Yeah.
to do
Okay.
something. But certainly I think that it gives us time between now and the start of the school year to do the outreach,
Right.
To do the planning,
Excellent.
and then sometime in September, October, depending upon the logistics of it, certainly I would look at that to be in the time frame. And really, it can be whatever you envision. They basically say that they recommend 3 sessions. You identify community members who want to be to be part of it. Certainly, it's open to all. But it's better if we know who's coming and how many people, so we can better plan how many facilitators, because it's broken down into small groups. It's not a big. You don't want 50 people, 100 people in a large group discussion, as much as you want to break that 50 or 100 down to groups of 5 to 10 people, so you can have some meaningful discourse. But they say they want to go through. They recommend 3 2-hour sessions. You can expand it. You can contract it. Again, it's up to the planners. And basically it says, what are some of the issues, and we've been talking about is that my initial thought was not necessarily frame it as what's wrong with summers, but a phrase that we're really using in the school system as our part of our strategic planning is, how do we move summers forward? And there's a lot of great things that happen, and that should be part of the conversation. There are some things that probably need to be improved, and that should actually be part of the conversation. Summers is no different than any other community. A lot of communities have great things, and they also have things that maybe they're not so proud of. So we don't stand out. We're just one of many. Mm-hmm. And then they move on to saying, okay, after we've gone through this process of saying, don't change this because we do this well, these things we may need to really look into, they start problem solving and action planning. So, okay, how can we move forward to really start a change in those things that we as a community have identified that we really need to change. And then the last session is kind of report out logistics. Okay, how do we march forward? The community that plans this can certainly mold it anyway. This is more just of a guide. So the first part of this is really my overview that I took away as I was researching it from the Department of Justice. Mm-hmm. There's a slideshow in here that I downloaded. It gives you a little bit more detailed information on how to go forward. Again, we would then have to do this alone, nor would we have to recreate the wheel. There are resources out there. Certainly the Justice Department also has human resources that they can provide to us to help us either plan and or facilitate some of these conversations if we decide to go forward. So the website, and again, I put the website at the front. When I went to the website, I'll caution you, it was really focusing on big, huge things. Like Muslim shootings in the churches, and how does the town, recover from that? And there's been a tremendous amount of these things, unfortunately, happening in the news. So when I first sat there, I was like, oh my God, this is not us. But as I read more, I said, okay, it's kind of like they capture your attention. And and as I got into more of the details, it was softened where I said, okay, we can discard that part of it, but this group of things is really good and appropriate possibly for summers. So that's my proposal. I think it would be a great thing not only for the community but for the kids as well, to see that that this is just not a school issue, but that everyone in town is taking a look at how can we improve ourselves and
be nice to each other.
Yeah, be role models to the
Yeah.
kids.
I agree. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
You've done an awful lot of work already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good that it isn't just sitting there getting stale. It's an issue that's getting addressed the right
Yeah.
way, so appreciate that.
It's very unfortunate this kind of event happens, but that brings up a greater need in terms of us addressing this
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming to us because I think working together makes it better.
Absolutely.
And when you have resources from both ends, you may see things in a different perspective, but it then makes it more broadened for the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that in talking to some of the local communities who have recently gone through something similar to this, and they're saying this is bringing the community together.
Yeah, I think Suffolk was in the news about this, right?
Simsbury.
Simsbury, I'm sorry,
recently, and this I was in contact with the Simsbury superintendent, who really steered me in this direction because this is what they were doing. It was spearheaded by one of the faith-based organizations in the town, who really was the person who said, "Hey, I'll be helpful," and I don't know all the details, but they were the person who really suggested this format. They had a lot of knowledge about it. I don't have a tremendous amount of knowledge because I haven't done a deep dive into the research of it, but from what I've seen, the time that I've spent on the website and talking to other people, it looks like a good plan of action.
Good.
Do you need help getting names or?
Well, I think that one of the first things in the process is identifying a sponsoring agency.
That's what I was thinking about.
And I think that I will certainly be part of the process, but I don't think that the school system should be the leading organizer of the process.
I just have some ideas that I could share. I'm thinking about anyway. One of them would be the Knights of Columbus.
Knights of Columbus, Rotary. It could be any of
Rotary.
the churches.
There you go. I forgot about that.
Yep.
President. That's right. No, I could bring that up to Rotary
Sure.
as well.
Yep, and I'd be more than happy to talk to at one of the upcoming meetings as well.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Rotary.
Could you come in May?
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that's
I'll give you a free dinner.
They'll give us all
I'm in.
summer to.
I mean,
Drinks are extra.
yeah, we should reverse that.
Make the meetings better.
That's true.
I think it will set that up right away for you. And then I'll also talk to, sometimes it works better. We're finding right now, even working with Lions Club, it's great to have the two service organizations working together. So even if we got three, one faith-based and two service,
Absolutely.
it would
I think that's
make it better.
That's the strength is the coalition, and how much the more that people that you can bring in, obviously the more outreach and influence they have. So,
I like that. Yeah, it's a great
Okay,
idea.
Brian, we appreciate you bringing this to
no
our
problem.
attention.
I'll leave this extra copy here if you want to put it on file.
And I will do that. I'm going to Lions tonight to ask them to join us, so
Okay,
I'll
Great.
do that tonight.
great, wonderful. Thank you for your time.
Thanks,
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice to see you
Nice to
again.
meet you guys again. Oh, my pleasure. Anything you need. All right.
That's okay, you can still come up.
That was great.
How did it seem?
Gives me the chills. That's
Okay,
great.
the last item is.
No, not last
Janice,
time.
Go back to six.
You skipped this at number
Six.
six.
Yeah, you
One,
skip this.
two.
I'm
Oh, I
fine.
apologize,
He always
Brian.
skips.
I'm fine with that.
You know, I gotta get him like
It's
a
all,
It's a habitual
flashcard.
skipper.
Flashcards with the one. And then
It's
the
right
two.
here, but
Yeah.
I apologize, Brian.
That's all right. So we're requesting you guys to authorize Mike to sign a contract with Invoice Cloud. Currently, we use Webster Bank as our online service agent for online tax payments. About a year ago, they upgraded their software and in turn broke every bit of customer service that came along with the old one. It's very cumbersome. We don't have details on payments. We have a lot of issues with returns and so forth.
I paid my taxes that way, so if you don't have a receipt, it's all good.
Right.
it's paid.
Our biggest issue is people make payments on Fridays online.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday are all bundled into one batch that we receive Tuesday morning that we then post, and then a file gets sent to DMV. If somebody made a payment on Friday and was releasing their card, they couldn't even register it until Wednesday of the following week. So there's a lot of issues with that. We've reached out to Webster asking them to change their format. They're unable to do so. So we sat down with these people. They're integrated right with our tax software already. They bring to the table the same product, just better. Still no cost to the town. Offers the same features plus more. We would get same-day deposits. Would open up the opportunity to take American Express. Would also allow us to get more reporting, to see more with returns, to see more with deposits, monthly reconciliations of everything. It also offers more to the taxpayer in the sense that they would, once they use it one time, they're put into the email database. They would then be sent reminders through electronic mail that you have
Oh, I
a
like
payment
that.
coming due in next month,
That's
or
nice.
that you missed your payment. Here's a statement. And this software handles all of it. We don't even have to drive it. It's just programmed straight through QDS to do so. It also gives the taxpayer the option to sign up for electronic billing so that they no longer receive a paper bill. They would get an email with their bill that would
That's
potentially cut our cost of printing
Yeah,
and,
gotcha.
and mailing
So
bills.
50 other towns use this.
50 other towns in the state of Connecticut alone use
Yeah.
this company.
And what are the fees to the taxpayer who pays online?
Same as they have been with Webster Bank. The EFTs are 40 cents more than with Webster Bank.
You don't get a lot of those, though, do you?
No, I don't know, because I can't tell you if I logged online. I couldn't tell you how anyone paid. I know I get 4 deposits for 1 transaction. So that's really cumbersome to reconcile at the end of the month, as you can imagine. Especially when you're dealing with over the weekend. You get 4 days, it's 16
Yeah.
deposits.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
What's not to like?
right. So,
Sarah,
Well, that's what I said, so I need you to authorize me to sign it.
yeah.
is there a term that we're signing up for in case it is not everything it seems to be?
Nope.
Or
No,
just
you can-
break it whenever you need to?
Yep.
Nice.
Make a motion that we take the recommendation of the Associate Director of Finance to enter into an agreement with Invoice Cloud.
Second.
Additional discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Good work,
Well
Brian.
done.
Now, authorization for payments.
I read it all.
When do we recognize the Citizen of the Year in town?
You can do that tonight if you want.
Yeah,
I'd like to
forgot
bring
to
that
talk
on
about
there.
it.
I'd like to add that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and have nominations for that before
Okay.
we do the bill paying.
Yeah.
We have a couple.
Can I do this first?
Sure, if you like.
Okay.
Mayor,
Move
you can
to-
do whatever you want.
Move to approve payments in the amount of $127,944.01.
1 cent, eh?
Second.
Oh.
Any additional discussion? You sign it?
127,944.
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
94401. Yep.
Like that's on ink. I'll see yours.
And not a penny more.
Not a penny more.
I have a funny story about that. I'll tell you off camera.
Gee.
Thanks again for sending those out earlier today.
Yep. I actually had them since Tuesday, but I've been so busy I completely forgot to send them out.
They were up
There you go,
for
Brian.
lunchtime reading. It's perfect.
Very nice.
All right, Kathy, nominations. Kim?
Take your
All right, so I'd like to we should add an agenda item
Yeah.
this evening, and that is for the Citizen of the Year and the Employee of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. Got it.
I have a couple of suggestions.
So
and-
I.
So, I have 2 suggestions, and I would like both of them to be honored if possible. One of them is Brad Pellissier for his years of service.
Yeah, I might go ahead too.
Having served so much on ad hoc planning, all these committees.
I think he's been on everything. That's what.
And so I think it's time that we honored Brad Pellissier. And the second person I'd also like to add this year is Kathy Moulton, who initiated the food pantry across the street.
Oh, okay.
And I think it would be nice to honor her.
Yeah, I understand. I also support that. Any additional nominations?
I'd like to consider Jim Patson for the work that he did on the Soapstone Tower.
Yeah.
Is he finished?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I took a walk
Oh,
over there
it is beautiful,
last
too.
Thursday at lunch and walked to the top.
Oh, I'd like
And
to
it's-
do that.
It's awesome.
And, I mean, in concert with the
It's-
caretakers of Soapstone Mountain, but I mean, he spearheaded that thing. And
Oh, God,
it's
yeah.
been to get DEP to help and all the work that they did, it's been quite a community thing, so.
I don't mind having three because, I'm sorry, but I do think there's a necessity to do it while it's
Yes.
really
Yeah.
there and
Can't do additional
contemporary, so
suggestions.
I would
those are
approve
great
all three of those,
suggestions.
if you don't mind, make a motion to do it.
Sure. Motion for all three to be recognized. Are we gonna do a recognition evening?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I'll take care of all that,
Excellent.
so.
And it should be
Yeah,
in
you-
May.
Whip that
You
out.
have the roadmap. You already
Still
have the
got balloons.
roadmap.
That'll be nothing compared to this. Come on, do that.
You still have balloons
Balloons,
downstairs. You can recycle
balloons and
those,
hors
so.
d'oeuvres there.
But I understand there's a helium shortage, so we'll just have to pin the balloons.
There is,
to the
actually.
ceiling. I know, I saw that in the paper. No, that'd be good if we could. So
I
not-
second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. And the next is the nomination for Employee of the Year.
Yes.
Recommendations.
God, I forgot who it was. I can't
I'd like to make a
remember.
recommendation.
Go ahead.
Jeff Board.
Yes, definitely.
Jeff's been a yeoman effort in terms of what he's done in the mill. I've been lost without his expertise and involvement. I think he's deserving.
I second that one.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Awesome.
Present company notwithstanding.
Yes.
You're doing an awesome job too, Kim.
Thanks.
Maybe we should do it in contemporary to her too.
Not this year, though.
Not this year. We'd like to do it,
No.
Kim. But you have to run it this time. It makes somebody else has to do it.
Conflict, you have to do it when she's not here.
Yeah. You have to train somebody else how to do the party, then we can do it officially.
That's funny.
Okay.
You guys are great.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, you gotta do approval of
You got
minutes.
minutes.
Oh, approval of minutes.
Quick.
We
Oh
forgot
my
number 10.
goodness.
One's the potty, and then the other
Yeah,
one.
no.
I already
Alrighty.
read them.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see anything wrong. I
It
know,
was
I
in the
was
long
looking for
meeting.
spelling errors. I did find one in that, members is MEMEBERS.
Oh, it's probably my fingernails.
On the
Oh, I do it
approval
all
of
the time.
payments?
I
Yeah.
put the members, I'm like,
I know. I don't know why it doesn't
I'm
pick it
typing
up.
faster than I can think.
Yeah, me too. I do that all the time.
All right. I did read them both.
Did you make a motion to approve these?
No, I did not.
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented for Thursday, April 18th, and at 6 p.m. and Thursday, April 18th at 2 p.m. And
Second.
May 2nd at 2. Oh no, that's today. I'm approving the agenda.
Second.
I seconded them.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have to go down the line.